Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Cats and Coffee. Ray, hi. I'm
Hi,
so
Cindy.
happy to see you again this week. You got your coffee?
I do. Good morning.
Good morning. And I just wanted to thank you for all that you do to spotlight the Clan Hattan clans and the Clan Hattan Association.
Oh, thank you for saying
And
that.
you're doing such a great job. And I just want to remind our viewers here, hey, this Cats and Coffee and what we're doing is meant to be fun, informative, but informal. And
Right.
we're just coming on to have a good time, to get people involved, get people engaged, give out little tidbits of information because, hey, we're all very busy. I have a 60-hour week job. You're doing all things Clan Hattan. And this is just meant to be fun, everyone. So have a good time. If you wanted to participate, please do let us know what down in the comment section you'd like to hear about. We make every effort. We have our reference guides that are approved by the Clan Hattan Association. I've got my Kenrara right here. I've got my On the Trail. We've got our Clan Hattan clans for this association. We also have publications and books given to us by the individual 12 clans. And so
Yes.
we're constantly cross-referencing, and we talked a little bit last week, and you'll hear a little bit more from the conversation with Philip Beddoes, who's the Clan Shinehey for Clan MacBean. History is very tricky. Even though we think we have, the absolute, yes, this is the information, it's constantly changing. More archives are being found, other things are being found. And so bear with us. We're just trying to have a good time, have fun. And we cross-reference, and we also send these vlogs that we're recording to people for approval in the sense of the information we're providing. So Ray, you are doing an excellent job. I just want to thank you so much. Let's get back to having some fun.
Yes. Yep. Yep. We do get information from all kinds of sources. I just received a book in the mail last week, in fact, about the clan fail. So I'm going to be looking at that soon. And so yeah, we're getting help from all places, and we're trying to sort everything out before we present it to you. So let's have some fun with this.
Let's have some fun. And we just want to thank John McFall, the president of the Fail Society, for sending us those books that he
Yes.
painstakingly put together. We want to thank Philip Beddoes and the Clan Hattan Association Council for all of their input and their help and their assistance in this. We are so grateful. So we are still spotlighting Clan MacBean, or as some Americans like to call MacBean. It's actually formally, technically MacBean, but
Right.
if you are a MacBean and you call yourself a MacBean, that's quite all right. It's whatever you want to do. There's some famous people we're going to talk about from the Clan MacBean that did go by Bean. And
Yes.
so, it's okay. It's whatever, however your family pronounces your name, you're still a member. So
Right.
we're going to go over just some of the historical figures from the Clan MacBean that can also be found on their website. And again, we will put the link below.
There's several famous MacBean clan members mentioned there. One of them that springs to mind for me right away when you say Bean versus Bane is that LL Bean. I'm sure he's known as Bean all over the world. LL Bean he's a famous person from Maine in the United States, which is near me here. I did a little segment on him. You'll see on the Touchnot channel. So LL Bean he's a wizard and a giant in the mail order business, outdoor clothing and equipment. So since the early part of the 20th century, about 1917, he started out and with boots and hats and coats and fishing rods and rifles and everything else you could think of for hunting and fishing. That was his thing, and still going strong today. I'm sure everyone knows LL Bean. They don't probably know it's Leon Wood Bean is his name. So very few people probably know that, but he's quite a famous person, and a lot to be proud of for the Clan MacBean is LL Bean.
Speaking of your YouTube channel, Touch Not. Don't forget, everybody, like and subscribe here. And also like and subscribe to Ray McHatton's YouTube channel. It's called Touch Not, and you can find it at Ray McHatt down below. He has a lot of great information. Now, we do Cats and Coffee together. We produce this together. We put it out on our individual channels, but then you have additional information and I have some additional information. So you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe to both channels and let us know
Yes.
where you are in the world and connect with us, and let us know if you have an association with Clan MacBean. I think it's great that the Clan Chattan Association, being that we have these 12 major clans, that we can spotlight each month one of these different clans. And even if you are not a member of that clan, maybe you don't know a lot about Clan MacBean. And it's fascinating and interesting to find out about historical figures, both in recent history and then almost 1,000 years ago. And so this is going to be great fun. Before we launch into this, I'm just going to read from the On the Trail real quickly here. This is our On the Trail Clan Chattan, a wonderful publication here in the US. When you join as a member, you get one of these provided to you. If you don't have one, let me know in the comments below and I'll make sure you get one. It's an overview of Clan Chattan Association and the 12 clans, and there's a timeline down below. There's a map of the clan lands. Septs include Bane, Bean, MacBean, MacBean, MacBeath, Macbeth, McIlvian. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, so I apologize if I'm butchering it, as I do often. And MacBean. So these are some of the septs. You can find more on the MacBean website. That is also linked down below. And I will also, again, link the inauguration of the current chief, Richard MacBean of MacBean.
Donald MacBean. He is an author. He was a soldier in the late 1600s, early 1700s. He's quite a character. He was a swordsman. He was a fencing instructor. He was an alehouse owner. He had several fencing academies. Very famous soldier, and he really documented all of his life, much of which took place within what's called the Spanish War of Succession, or the War of the Spanish Succession, I should say. It's backwards, but that's when he did most of his military duty throughout Holland and Germany and such. In the Scottish unit, he fought this war outside of Scotland and England mostly, and he was a very colorful character, and many of the events that are very madcap and crazy, and every half of it takes place in a saloon, the other half in the battlefield. So he's a very interesting character. At one point, early in his career, he was attached to a unit, and they gave him an older soldier, is what said, to help him manage his pay. And I suppose this was meant, I think they handed it to that guy first, and then he got whatever out of it that man didn't need. And so after a few weeks of this, he challenged him to a duel. I guess apparently he was a very old guy, and he challenged this man to a duel, and he beat the pants off of Donald. Literally took his clothes and his sword and pawned it. Really beat him, and it made him mad enough, so he saved some money. He bought a sword. He took lessons. He came back and he beat him, and that's how he became very determined to improve his swordsmanship, which he did throughout his life, even teaching others eventually. So he's a very, very interesting character indeed, Donald MacBean.
Wow, and I can only imagine. Have you ever done any sword fighting yourself?
I've not.
Tried. I have not either. I've watched it a few times in fencing, but oh my goodness. And
Right.
fencing can be different from fighting with the broadsword.
He was a saloon owner, and he owned a couple of fencing schools as well. I think one of them was attached to I say saloon, but they call it alehouse in his. Yeah, he was certainly a very colorful character, I would say. If you don't read the whole book, you're going to think he's only a soldier or only a saloon keeper or this or that, because some of it he very much concentrated on those throughout his life. But then he went back to the soldiering. He came home and opened his saloon sometimes, and when the war business got slow, I suppose, is the kind of a guy he was, professional soldier.
It did it. I think it's interesting too that he was marching to battle. And by the way, his book is called The True Art of Self-Defense.
It's about 30 words, isn't it? The title
Yeah,
somewhere.
the Expert Swordsman's Companion, or The
Mm.
True Art of Self-Defense. So if you want to look for that title and read that book, he talks about how he had 2 young children at the time, and his wife and children were at the rear of the battle march.
Right. Yeah.
This is coming up a lot lately, hearing about how people's wives and families went with them to battle. Can you imagine?
All I can think of is that you certainly know how your family is when you're away. If they're with you, you're not wondering if someone's taking your land, or, that's the only thing I can think of. It's a peace of mind thing for the soldier. I guess his family's in the back right now. They're going to stitch him up if he needs it and feed him. But I never thought about this bringing your family. I guess it happened.
So you talked about L.L. Bean. That's a wonderful, wonderful story. More, even though he's over 100 years ago, more of a modern
Yes.
ancestor and famous person of Clan MacBean. Let's talk about Gillies MacBean, because this is probably perhaps so far one of my favorite Clan MacBean members from history. And he was a captain in the McIntosh regiment at Culloden. And he killed 14 Hanoverian soldiers before being cut down by the cavalry. He was an unusually tall man of 6'7".
My goodness.
Now think about that for a minute, because William Wallace was 6'6".
Right.
William Wallace's broadsword was 5'6". That's nearly my height.
Yep.
Now, centuries later, the Battle of Culloden, here Gillies MacBean is 6'7". Now, oftentimes when you go and visit some of the castles in Scotland and you see the armory from those periods of time, the
Right.
average height of that armory was about 5 feet tall. People were just smaller in stature, mostly during those times. And I have to wonder, and I have to think, did some of the height come, as the Vikings invaded Scotland and
Right.
stayed there and bred with the Scots, and because they were very tall. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, this gentleman was 6'7". He was quite tall. That's quite tall, even in modern times here today. But he cut
Right.
down 14 before, I believe Philip told me, he took a cannonball to the back. What an amazing hero in that battle.
Yeah. Must have had difficulty finding him a horse. A man that big would make any horse look silly. Oh my God. Most of those horses were not large horses like we think of today, is what I've been told.
My brothers are 6'4" and 6'5". I can't imagine being any larger than that. But what an incredible story, and an incredible story of bravery during the Culloden battle. And do you want to touch on perhaps another, maybe we can talk about Commander Alan Bean, and he did go by Bean.
Correct. Yep. I'm not sure where he grew up in the United States. Perhaps you do, Cindy, but I know he was a relation of, back to Maine and New England. He's a relation from John MacBean of Exeter, which is one of the of many Baines and Beans, etc., in the U.S. and all over the world. He's from that line. Yes, he was on the Apollo mission. He was the commander of the Apollo mission in 1969.
Yes, he commanded Apollo 12 to the moon. And he has a website, which we'll link down below, Alan Bean's website. And there is a memorial to him at the MacBean Memorial. And you'll see a little bit of that again in the inauguration as they talk about him.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
yeah, he gave a piece of tartan to the clan that he flew on the moon. And there's some speculation as to whether he left tartan on the moon.
Oh,
And,
right.
and maybe one day someone will find it. So you never know.
Right.
He spoke to people and he was very warm and approachable.
That's
Uh,
what I meant. Yes, yes.
yeah. There's also a small portion of that tartan that he took to the moon that hangs in Scotland commemorating that event. So you can learn again more about the history on his website, Alan Bean's website, which we've linked.
Right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just want to mention one other thing. Cindy was talking earlier, folks, about the two different channels that we have, the Clan Chattan Association channel. And my channel is called the Touch Knot channel. Yeah, we have roughly the same mission, but we're not duplicating each other to any extent, except for what you're watching right now. This is pretty much it. Beyond that, Cindy really has concentrated on events in Scotland and all over the world. Things like she just mentioned, the inauguration, the parks and sites over there. My channel is bringing history to life, you might say. We have a little bit of a different tact on everything, but we love each other and we are on the same mission. We do things together. We talk all the time. We're just going a little bit different, but we're not leaving each other whatsoever. We're still in the same boat here. We're just two different sides of it, you might say.
You convened for Clan Hatton on the East Coast.
Yes,
I'm mostly on the West Coast.
there you go.
And I think this was your brainchild and your baby, Cats and Coffee, but then to also highlight and spotlight one of the 12 clans throughout the year. There's 12 months of the year. Why not do this? I love how fun you make little tidbits of information and bringing history to life. And it's fabulous. And I don't want to try to recreate that. I like watching it on your channel. And we're also having people come on, guests come on, interviewing them. Do hope you like and subscribe to both channels and enjoy the content that we're putting out. But make sure you go watch what Ray's doing. Ray has a lot more content than we do. We're just getting started on the Clan Chattan Association site. So thank you, Ray, again, for all that you do.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, we have over 100 pieces of video on it now. And yeah, we complement each other is what Cindy's saying. It's working out good. And if you folks can figure out a way that you'd like to see us complement each other even more, anything you want to contribute, let us know. It's important. I say that every week, I know, but I'm saying it again. Thank you.
Yes, and I want to come up with some sort of contest we have for our viewers that's a fun contest or a trivia thing. And we're going to continue for the rest of the month to do Clan MacBean and talk about more of the famous MacBeans in history.
Yes.
Some almost 1,000 years ago. I talked last week about giving you more information about there was a fight. I won't call it a battle. Hasn't been called a battle. There was a fight where the Commons sort of jumped the MacBeans. Remember, John Comyn, the Red Comyn, was killed by Robert the Bruce in a church.
Right.
And the MacBeans went and killed the steward, the common steward in the castle. And the feud broke out between the Commons, the McIntoshes, and the MacBean in a very fierce feud because the McIntoshes and MacBeans really supported Robert the Bruce. And they were just dragged into this feud.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. He killed him in I think it was Dumfries, Greyfriars Church in Dumfries.
Yes.
He killed him at the altar. A little bit of the story is that three of his men went back inside to make sure he didn't pull his punches, if you know what I mean. They went back inside to make sure he was down or dead. He was supporting the Balliol faction for the crown, I believe, is what the story was. The Comans supported Balliol. I may not be saying that right, and rather than the Bruce side of the coin, right? So after that, the Comans decided they're going to go after who supported the Bruce, and why wouldn't they? That's how this works.
They did. And there was some sort of a fight that ensued where an axe was embedded into another axe handle in such a way that it looked like a cross. So, and then the MacBean put the axe back on his back and he walked around with it, and people saw that there was this cross on his back from the
Okay.
fight where he got jumped. So I'm trying to get the proper information about this. I was going to do it this week. We talked about it last week. I had to table it until I get all of the right information so I can tell you about this. A far, known as the Far manuscript, that is in Edinburgh that has more of this information about this fight. And hopefully we're going to be able to, or someone will be able to go and translate or transcribe this manuscript and publish it. It's never been published. And apparently it has some new information, but also clarifies some information that people didn't really know if it was accurate or true, some of the events that happened. And one of these was this story about this axe that was embedded in the other axe. And lo and behold, it is in this manuscript and it is a true story. So we want to bring you more of the details of that here, having to do with the MacBean, Clan MacBean.
Really a cliffhanger, Cindy. This is great.
I
Stretch this
know.
out 3 or 4 more weeks if we can. Come on, just keep
Yeah,
sharing that out.
we're doing it. We're cross-referencing and we're trying to get the proper information. I don't want to make anything up and just tell you a story. So we're going to make sure we have all the right information so we can discuss it, and maybe some more about that feud. There are a lot of stories surrounding that feud with the Commons. And also there's a battle, a famous Battle of the 30, which is also has a famous name. And so we'll leave that as a cliffhanger as well.
This could play into our trivia, perhaps.
Yes, so we will be talking about both of these events in coming Cats and Coffee as soon as we have all of the groundwork laid out of how we're going to go about doing it. And we'll include some fun trivia as well. Thank you for joining me here today. Again, taking time out of your busy schedule.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's fun for me.
Here's some more fun coming your way. No, we certainly appreciate it. And I just want to congratulate you. You're doing such a great job on the Touch Not channel. You're getting a lot of views. And the whole idea, again, is to keep people engaged and keep it fun. So have a good time.
Oh, thank you. I want to mention a couple of things coming up in April. Can we do that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just made a little short video this morning. I think it has 150 views already. A short video about a tartan ball coming up on April the 6th, Andover, Massachusetts. Here in New England, Andover, Massachusetts, April 6th, tartan ball at a place called Indian Ridge Country Club. The Scots Charitable Society of Boston and the New England Center for Scottish Arts are presenting a tartan ball. It's going to be a beautiful night, just packed full of Scottish culture and dance and music. Kaylee dances are going to be instructed. I told you, well, I suppose that happens in everything. Someone doesn't know how to dance, but they're hoping to teach people who don't know. So that's going to be a great time. April the 6th, which is tartan day, that Saturday night in Andover, Mass. I'll be putting some more things on my channel about it. After we produce this, there'll be some links below about it. Certainly the location and time and date. I'm gonna get a website too for you so you can get tickets to it. The Scots Charitable Society and the New England Center for Scottish Arts. They're both nonprofits who do a great job in New England for people. So please come out and support them, folks. Thank you very much.
That would be fantastic. So again, the link will be below. Hopefully you can get your tickets. And I love how young people like the Kaylee as well. So if you want to attract younger audiences and people to come and join in and enjoy, have a Kaylee dance. And we end up laughing a lot of times because some of the dances over the years I've gotten to know, I don't know how it is for you, Ray. Some of them I know, some I don't. And they just kind of throw you in and they'll put you in between a couple of people who do know the dance, and you kind of get pushed around and you do it, and then you might make a mistake and then everybody laughs.
So the Kaylee is just a getting together of many different musicians and such, and that's just what it is, right? It's nothing formal, very informal. That's what's good about it, I think.
the Scottish country dancing and the Ceilidh dancing became, and we should do a future Cats and Coffee at some point about this because it's really
Yes.
fascinating. It became square dancing
Okay.
States.
Interesting.
Yes. So that's where square dancing came from.
Sure.
And the Ceilidh band and the music became eventually, even though we still have obviously Ceilidh bands and Ceilidh music, bluegrass music,
Okay. Yeah.
and they just added the banjo.
Sure. The reel is a genre of music or dance, and I think that's something that came right over into Appalachia and Eastern United States, and right up and down from north to south. Yeah, that's fascinating. We should do this.
So the Scots came to the US, the ones that came to the US went mostly into the South and the Eastern Seaboard and brought their customs, their food, the way they were making whiskey at the time,
Yep.
dance and music to the United States, and what became such a rich culture in the South here.
Yeah, and their isolation in those mountains helped that grow and preserve it, and that's something that's just it's just priceless. Yeah, we're trying to cover everything we can this year. It's tough, but we'll get there.
You're doing a great job. Ray,
Thank
thank you so much. Ray McHatton, everyone, thank you so much for all the work that you do.
Oh, you also, Cindy. She's half of this whole show, you know.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Everyone, we'll see you next week, and bye for now. Don't forget to comment below what more you'd like to hear about.
Thank you so much for watching the Chestnut channel. Please like, share, and subscribe.